Well, the Seahawks suck, but hopefully our bets don't. It's week 6 in the NFL. Let's talk some football. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, back and ready to talk some more NFL football. Week 6 is already here after I just watched my Seahawks absolutely suck again, and they lost. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. We went 1-1 on the bets. We're an injury away from 2-0. Jordan Mason would have flew over this line. They ran the ball so much. Unfortunately, a second quarter injury cost us a winner, but that's all right. It happens in football. So we'll go over that recap in a second, but I have 2 more giveaways, 1 free month to Outlier for 2 people. Here's all you got to do. Like the video and leave a comment below. We will pick 2 random people and we will announce it on the tomorrow's video, Friday's NFL player props. So be sure to leave a comment and get that Outlier. And if you don't have Outlier already, if you don't know much about it, it's incredible, guys. You guys already know a lot, but one-stop shop for all your betting research help. It helps you with many sports. It's not just football, not just baseball. It's got a lot on there. If you want to look up game bets, where the money's coming in, team totals, hit rates on player props, you guys know how it works. It is awesome. Click the link below. You get 7-day free trial. But let's get into it. And that means it is NFL fun fact time. So here we go. Brett Favre. That's right, Mr. Favre. I know it's not Favre, by the way. Please don't leave a comment. He holds the record for the most consecutive games played with 279. A lot of people already know that, but did you know that the record he broke was only at 116? He more than doubled it. That was Ron Jaworski. You guys know him because he's on TV. He's been covering the NFL for a long time, or he was. I don't really know anymore now. Peyton Manning, though, is now second with 208 games, still not anywhere close. 279 is absolutely impressive. But in this video, we're going to recap that Thursday night game, and then we're going to go over the Week 6 trends. Huge week for the trends, 9-4 in Week 5. Finally had that first big weekend. And then we're going to give you our best bets, our trends parlay, and then the bets recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help that algorithm. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way to 30,000 subscribers. Again, the NFL player props video will be out Friday night like usual. So if you're looking for player props, you will not find them in this video. So let's get it started, and that means it's recap time. All right, there it is, the 1-1 day, and honestly, my better read might have been the loss with Jordan Mason, but Kenneth Walker over 19.5 receiving yards, struggling for most of the game, and then finally, game script wasn't part of the handicap, and they were playing from behind, and he got some catches at the end of the game, got the job done, luckily. And then Jordan Mason over 17.5 rush attempts. If you watch the game, you know there is absolutely nothing we can do. 8 carries in the first quarter and a half. They run the ball all game, but it wasn't to him because he hurt himself in the second quarter. It's football. It happens. We got to move on and take the L. So up 3.48 units on the year. That is the recap, and now it is time for the Week 6 trends. All right, it's one of my favorite times of the week. Week 5 trends killed it. Let's see how the Week 6 trends do. The Bears have held 11 straight opponents to 21 or less. Jacksonville team total 21.5 for that game in London. Kyler Murray, this is insane. He hasn't won consecutive starts in October of 2021. That is bonkers. Green Bay money line, if you tail that one. Titans 8-0-1 against the spread in their last 9 games, following a bye. Obviously with different coach and everything, because it goes back to last year and for a long time actually. Tennessee minus 2.5. Tampa Bay, New Orleans have gone under in 5 straight games against each other. That totals 41.5. Texans under first half total in 10 of the last 11 road games. That first half total is 19.5. Browns under their team total in every single game this season, and that team total has dropped massively. It is now at 16.5 because Deshaun Watson absolutely stinks. He just does. Washington, Baltimore have a combined 8-2 record to the over this season. Total in that game is a whopping 51.5. Random one here. Justin Fields has thrown 1 interception in his last 7 games. Not too shabby. He's also not taking many chances when he throws it. But Cowboys, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games as an underdog. Dallas is +3 against the Detroit Lions. Panthers 6-15-1 against the spread in their last 22 games. Is that good? I don't think so. Atlanta -6. Bengals have gone over 50 points in 4 straight games because they score like none other, and their defense is atrocious. Total in that game is 48 points. Vikings are now 5-0, straight up and against the spread in the first quarter, first half, and full game. We said it last week at 4-0. They got the job done again. Only them and the Patriots have ever done that to start a season. I think it was like the 2007 Patriots. Absolutely wild. But that's page 1. Those are the ones of record. Now let's give you some other info like we like to give you. And this doesn't even make sense. I'm going to say that. Underdogs of 6+ points are now 11-8 straight up and 16-2-1 against the spread, 87.5% through 5 weeks. It's the best season through 5 weeks for 6+ point dogs since 1960. Just so you know, these 6-point underdogs or more were 27-109-1 straight up from 2019 to 2023. 11-8 straight up. Wild stuff. We have 10 home underdogs in week 6. That is a ton. Tied for the most in 1 week since 1972. The Jets fired Saleh. You know that. 38 teams have fired their coach in season since 2003. Those teams the next week have gone 17-21 straight up and 22-16 against the spread the next week. And then through 5 weeks, rookie quarterbacks 10-5 straight up and 12-3 against the spread, the second most combined wins for the first 5 weeks of a season in history, trailing only in 1987. You guys remember that. I was one. Great time. Betting public, 51% or more of tickets are now 28, 46, and 2 against the spread, the worst in the last 20 years. The public has been horrendous. NFL totals of 37 or less. This is wild, guys. A 37 or less total. You usually think, oh, we got to look at the over, right? No, under is 33, 12, and 1 since 2020. There's a reason those totals are low. Past 8 games in Europe have gone under. Average of total score of 35.1. So that's what we got for all the trends for week 6. And now it is time for the best bets. All right, this first one is a beauty. We got the Panthers hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons -6. Total in this game is 46.5. I'm just going to get right into it. We don't need to break down this game. It's ugly. And in fact, the first 2 games are games you might not want to watch. But the bet in this one, give me the over 46.5 at -115. This is a 1-unit play. The Panthers have already helped us win some overs this season. Let's run it back. Panthers offense, they've been better since Andy Dalton took over. We know that. Their O-line has actually been pretty solid. One of the better pass blocking O-lines, and they've done a good job at opening up holes for Chuba Hubbard. He's been good. And Dalton has had a lot of time to throw, and he will this game as well. But Panthers defense, it is so incredibly bad. I mean, it's just so bad. They can't stop anybody. They have given up 34 or more points in 3 straight games. I will say that again. 34 more points in 3 straight games. They practically get no pressure. Seriously, no pressure at all. Lowest QB pressure rate in the NFL. It's like the other quarterback is playing with that red jersey on, in practice where you can't touch him. That's what it seems like. Kirk Cousins should absolutely dominate and have plenty of time to find his weapons. London, Pitts, Bijan, all those guys out there. Darnell Mooney also. 27th in rush yards allowed, 22nd in pass yards allowed for the Panthers defense. Rush yards is actually worse when you look at yards per carry and all that. But Falcons offense, Cousins and the Falcons, they've been really they've been clicking lately. Let's just say that. I almost said ticking. I don't know why. Scored 36 last week and almost 600 yards versus Tampa. They put up 26 points the week before versus Saints. The big reason they should score here, they're facing the Panthers defense. We already talked about it. Cousins is the guy who doesn't move in the pocket. He just doesn't. Not at this stage of his career. That's not going to be much of a problem. He should have a decent pocket in this one against the Panthers, like most quarterbacks do. Bijan and Algier should be able to run the ball pretty well. Chase Brown and Zach Moss just ran for 131 yards 2 weeks ago. Swift had a decent game last week. I think they'll be able to run and throw the ball. Falcons defense now. The big reason I think Dalton and Carolina can score is because the Falcons also do not put pressure on the quarterback. You love to see that when you're betting it over. They only have 5 sacks through 5 weeks. 5 through 5. I just did the math. That's 1 a week. That's it. Baker had absolutely all day to throw if you watched that game. It was insane. Total scores in the last 3 games with Dalton at quarterback, 58, 58, and 46 for Panthers games. Really that 46 that went under was because Carolina only scored 10. It was in Chicago. Good defense. Atlanta is not Chicago's defense. Overall, 2 defenses that get 0 pressure. We have 2 decent offenses here. It should be good weather there in North Carolina. Give me points, and more points yet again in the Panthers game. Give me the over as my first best bet. All right, this second one is just as pretty as the first one. We got the Patriots hosting the Houston Texans. Texans -6.5. Total in this game is 38. My best bet in this game is the Texans team total under 23.5 at -125 on Bet365 for 1 unit. Let's talk about that Houston offense. They're going to be without their best playmaker, Nico Collins. We all know he's a top 5 receiver in this league. He is unbelievable. They struggled without him in the second half last week, scoring 6 points to get to their total of 23. Collins has been the main reason the Texans score. Let's be honest. I mean, he makes big play after big play. CJ Stroud relies on him to score. Texans really struggle on early downs, which is key here. 31st in EPA per play on first and second down. That is atrocious, by the way. The run game has been non-existent. Mixon may be out again in this game. Houston is 23rd in rush yards per game, bottom 10 in rush yards per carry at 4 yards. It just has not been pretty, and the O-line just hasn't protected Stroud as well as much as we're used to seeing from last year. When the Texans dominated last year, you saw a ton of splash plays, a lot of huge plays. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, people were just going deep. Defenses have adjusted now. They're playing a lot of too high safety, making them work more for it. And now they're going to have to rely on Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, who's been just non-existent this year. Some of it's injury, but when he's out there, he just has not been a factor at all. So it's going to be tough with no run game, no Nico Collins. It's going to be tough to score. Now they're going to New England against the Patriots defense. In their 2 home games, they've held both opponents to 23 or less. One was the Dolphins. I get that. The other one was my Seattle Seahawks. They had 20 after the fourth quarter and then kicked a field goal in overtime to win to get to 23, still under. But they've been solid against the run, allowing the 7th fewest yards per carry in the NFL, 4.2. Plus the Texans don't have a run game. It's going to be hard to score 24 or more when you can pretty much count out the Texans being able to run the ball at all. When it comes to sacks, Patriots are about average. They have 12 sacks through 5 weeks. Texans have allowed 14 sacks. Like I said, they have not protected well, and they're injured even more now on the offensive line. If you watch Patriot games, you know Keon White has been really good for them. He has a pass rush grade right now on PFF that's similar to TJ Watt. That's how good he's been. This Texans offense is only averaging 20.4 points per game. This is not your last year Texans offense. And now we're getting a 23.5 number on the road versus a decent defense without their number one playmaker, without probably their starting running back, with not much of a run game in general. Sign me up. Give me the Texans team total under 23.5 points as my second best bet. All right, before we get to this third game, do not make fun of me. All these 3 games are absolutely disgusting, but this slate is pretty ugly. There's not many great games on it, but I absolutely love this bet. We are heading out to Denver where the Broncos are hosting the LA Chargers. Chargers -3. Total in this game is 36. You know where I'm going. Give me that under 36 at -117 on DraftKings for 1 unit. It's getting uglier and uglier as the video goes on. And by the way, after this, we will have a trends parlay and some side dishes we'll talk about again. But it is scary to take an under at 36. I get that. 35.5, if that's all you can get, that's fine too. But when you say, what are you doing taking an under on a low total? Again, NFL totals of 37 or less are 33, 12, and 1 to the under since 2020. That's absolutely insane. It has been extremely profitable. Now, the Chargers offense, all 4 of their games, that's right, they had a bye last week. They have gone under 36. Every single one of their games, nothing has gone under over 32 points for them. It's insane. They want to play low-scoring games. They want to slow the game down. That's just how Harbaugh is playing with these guys, and he's really got them playing a lot better, especially defensively. Herbert should be a bit healthier, but this is going to be a really tough matchup for him, especially when you don't have a lot of talent on the outside with wide receiver weapons. Chargers this season, 30th in total yards, 31st in pass yards per game, 9th in rush yards per game. We pretty much have a bottom 3 pass offense versus the number 1 pass defense in the Denver Broncos. The only way they can move the ball is running, and maybe they can have a little success running the ball. They may, but again, running the ball means the clock is running. That's right. That also helps. That's also running. The clock is running. Players are running. Anyways, it's getting late, guys. Broncos offense, very conservative. Finally had a good game last week, but it was the Raiders. They're horrendous. Especially compared to the Chargers. The Broncos are averaging 19.2 points per game. That's with their 34-point effort versus the horrendous Raiders last week. Chargers have given up the fewest points per game. Bet you didn't know that. Chargers given up the fewest points per game in the NFL at only 12.6. Yes, it's only a 4-game sample size. They haven't played the best competition, but they still look much better. Harbaugh knows how to coach a defense. He's always shown that everywhere he has been. They held Kansas City to 17 points, so that's still very impressive, if I could talk. Denver doesn't make many big plays. As you guys know, they're 28th in pass yards per game, 21st in rush yards. The Chargers defense is allowing the 5th fewest yards per carry in the league. They held Najee Harris under 4 yards per carry recently. And then we talk red zone defenses, because if they are going to get in the red zone, how well do they play? How about the Chargers and Broncos being both top 4 red zone defenses through 5 weeks? Chargers are allowing a touchdown on only 28.5% of red zone drives. Denver allowing a touchdown on only 33.33%. They buckle down. They play well in the red zone, which you like to see. If they're going to kick field goals all day, I would gladly cash this under. So overall, I think we're going to see an old-fashioned, defensive field position, run the ball, chew the clock type of game in this one. Again, no game in the Chargers have gone over this yet this year. We have 2 top 5 defenses versus probably 2 bottom 5, bottom 8 offenses. As long as we don't get a ton of turnovers and like pick sixes and all that kind of stuff, and in really easy field position or anything like that, I love the under 36 in this game as my third best bet. And now let's check out the trends parlay. All right, we are due to hit a trends parlay. We've hit, I think, 2 of the 3 legs, like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So here we go again. This isn't official, but we take 3 of the trends that we showed earlier, and we talk a little bit about it, put it together in a parlay. So here we go. Plus 427 on DraftKings. Give me the over 51.5 in the Washington-Baltimore game. Packers on the money line, and the under 41 in the Bucks and Saints. Let's just talk briefly over 51.5 Washington-Baltimore. The trend we are tailing here. These two teams have a combined 8-2 record to the over this season. This may be the most fun game to watch. This is probably the one you wanted to hear the analyzing of. It's instead of all those 3 games that I talked about earlier. But this is a proven MVP in Lamar Jackson versus one of the best young quarterbacks this league has ever seen. Commanders should have success through the year because absolutely everybody does for the Ravens. But they are not going to be able to count on that run game because we know how good the defense is for that. But I think McLaurin has a good game. I think we see a really good Jaden Daniels here using his legs and also through the air. Because the pass rush for the Ravens just isn't really there, and the secondary has just been crappy. They had no answers for Burrow last week. And then Ravens are facing the Commanders' defense. Listen, they're improved from where they were earlier this year, that's for sure. But this can be a step up in class. You got Lamar and Derrick Henry. These guys know how to score points. Their team total is like 30 for a reason. I think we have fireworks here with 2 quarterbacks who are electric and can make big plays with their arm or their legs, and any single time they touch the ball. So I like the over in that one. Then the next trend, Packers money line, actually kind of an easier one. A safer leg, I guess, because it's just on the money line. But Kyler Murray has not won consecutive starts since October of 21. That is the trend we are following, and that is absolutely mind-blowing to me. But anyways, that's what you want out of your number 1 pick, right? So the analyzation of this game, it's a huge emotional comeback win for the Cardinals last week. It's going to be a little bit of a letdown spot here. Now they got to go to Green Bay. The Cards and Murray are guys, our team, the Cardinals and Kyler Murray like to make you think that they're good sometimes, and then that's when they let you down. They've showed it already this year when they threw up an absolute clunker against the Commanders at home. I think the Cards could have some success running the ball here, but I don't think it's enough to keep up with the Packers, to be honest. Love looked a little shaky, but he's back home now, and he's playing a Cardinals defense that is just not very good. I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. I think the Packers win. I lean them on the spread as well. At 5.5, I think it was at 6. At 5.5 or anything under 6, I lean that way. But all we need is a Packers money line win. The third leg under 41 in the Bucks and Saints. The trend here: these two teams have gone under in 5 straight games against each other. I have won bets in the past on their unders. So whenever these 2 teams play, I know that we're going to see an under. And I almost made it a best bet. I'm going to be honest. But Saints will be out without Derek Carr in this one, and also some offensive linemen. I think they struggle to score. Tampa's offense has been pretty good some weeks, and then pretty bad other weeks. They've been very inconsistent. But these teams, if you watch them play, they know each other well. They know how to slow each other down. It's more of a gut feel on this one. We're kind of riding the trend on this and what we've seen in past matchups. But we're talking Spencer Rattler and some really injured offensive linemen. If you don't know already, this Saints team is a little different lately, as it was in the first 2 weeks when it absolutely dominated. So I think we see another low-scoring game in the NFC South. Give me the under 41, Bucks Saints, Packers money line, and the over 51.5 in the Washington Baltimore. That is the trends parlay. I'm probably going to throw like a half unit, maybe quarter unit on it, and let's finally get a winner. But before we get out of here, let's check out some side dishes. All right, as you guys know, I've stayed away from some sides and spreads lately because the first couple weeks just absolutely crushed me. There's so many crazy games going on. Spreads have been tough to start the year. So what I'm doing is just giving out some leans on what I like on the spreads, and I'm really pounding those totals like you've seen in our 3 best bets. But here we go. Here's 2 spreads I like, and this is a rough week. I mean, it is ugly. There's not a lot I like here. But the first one, by the way, these went 1-1 last week. First one, Buccaneers -3. I think this line is too low. We talked a little bit about this game on the under just recently. But the Saints' first 2 weeks, that's in the rearview mirror. They are not the same team. Last 3 weeks, they've scored 12 versus the Eagles. That's not good at all versus that team. 24 versus the Falcons and 13 versus the Chiefs. Defenses have already figured them out. It did not take long, and now they have to rely on Spencer Rattler. The Bucks won in New Orleans pretty easily last year. I don't think it's a huge home field advantage or anything like that. The Saints have injuries, like I said, on the D-line, on the O-line. They are ravaged with injuries. Not a great thing to have when you have a backup quarterback coming in. Baker and the Bucks, I think they do enough on offense here. Like I said, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, but I think they win by probably 6-7 points here. So give me the Bucks -3 as my first lane. Second one, this is ugly. Jaguars +1.5. It's a London game. Jags in London. We know what that means. They've been good in London. This is like their second home. They do it every single year. If you don't know, this is a rookie quarterback with the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, making his 6th ever NFL start in another country. I mean, this Bears team is not used to playing in London. He is not used to playing in London. There's a whole bunch that goes into it. Jags are the desperate team. I know they haven't looked great this year, but that's why you go to London. They usually look a little bit better when they go to London. London games can get weird. I just think they find a way to win. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to get too deep in the research here. I just think they find a way to win. I mean, you can't bet against the Jags in London. That's like betting against the Lions on Thanksgiving. You just can't do it. So I like the Jags to find a way to win. I kind of think it's going to be a lower scoring game. But just because the Bears defense has been good doesn't mean it equals a win. Caleb Williams and this Bears offense still has been up and down a little bit. So give me the Jags plus 1.5 or on the money line if you like as my second side dish. Those are the only two I'm giving out. Like I said, it's pretty ugly out there. Like I said, Packers minus 5.5 maybe is a good one. I kind of lean the Commanders plus 6.5 and all that. But these are my two main leans right here. So that's what I got for the show. Again, NFL player props will be on Friday night. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, here is the Week 6 best bets card. Over 46.5 Falcons, Panthers minus 115. Texans team total under 23.5. That's on Bet365 at minus 125. And then the ugly under 36 and the Chargers Broncos at minus 117 on DK. That is one unit. And then Trends parlay down there. Over 51.5 Washington, Baltimore, Packers money line under 41 Bucks and Saints. That's what I got for you. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And also remember the NFL player props will be out on Friday night. So thanks again. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great Friday, and we'll talk to you soon.